The other thing you mentioned, which I find such a funny dynamic, is that the smaller customers are just way more demanding. And it's wild. Like, and in some ways I love it as like a product manager and founder. I'm like, I want to hear all the stuff that's like wrong with my product and all the stuff. But on
Now you
another level,
do.
it's like, but it's also like, in some ways it's annoying. It's like, you pay me $60 a month. I have customers who pay me $25,000 a year. Like, you're
Mhm.
bothering me way more. And so it's
Oh
such an
yeah.
interesting dynamic. Maybe just, I'm curious, like your take on
Oh yeah.
that, like, yeah,
It's the people who are paying you $25,000 a month are used to paying people $25,000 a month. They've been in business longer. They know how things go, so they don't need as much handholding. The people who are, paying you $600 a month, they're probably not very big. They probably don't know a whole lot about business. So part of what they need from you is that guidance. And ironically, a lot of that would be like either CS or digital enablement, but you learn from these people like, all right, what don't you know? How can we teach that to you in a scalable way? But it's like they're not used to paying for things like this. They're used to trying to do everything themselves. And they're not used to like, okay, understanding that having time to do other things brings you more money. They're still looking at it as like, I'm paying you for this. So why is everything not absolutely perfect into my specifications, even though you built this for more than just me? They don't quite get it yet. They're young.
yeah. And I've also found that those smaller customers, you just need to be way more prescriptive with, and they want to be told
Hmm.
the best practices. I mean, this was the same at like Lattice, my last company, where it was like, we did performance review software, and it was like, they just want to know, like, what are the three questions I need
Yeah.
to ask in the review? And that's it. Whereas the big enterprise customers, like, you have to mold to their process and they already know what they want, but you just need to
Yeah.
fit to their side. And so it's such an interesting dynamic yeah, like I don't know, different mentality of the customer
And it's a
sizes.
matter, it's also a matter of like, what are you selling and what are you saying yes to? I think early on with companies, like you're trying to get customers and you're like, yeah, we can do that. And doing like whatever it takes to get to yes. And it becomes very unscalable very quickly. Like you can't customize it for everyone or you'll have a Franken product. Like there's no way to update that.
Totally. Yeah.
Um,
What we've tried to
so
adopt because we have like managed and unmanaged accounts,
of
and then like,
course, of
and then from a
course.
product perspective, it's like, we care about everyone obviously, but we care more about managed, and we listen to that feedback more,
Yeah.
and we focus in that way, and it's generally working, but definitely distracts us. If there's a bad bug, unmanaged customers dealing with, we still want to help them and we still fix
Of
that, and so
course, of
so it's
course.
such an interesting dynamic. Although it's part of me dies a little. It's like, oh, why are we spending the time on that when we could be
Hmm.
building some awesome feature that help us get $100,000 contract or whatever it is. Yeah.
And that's
So
always the battle between CS and product, isn't it? Product is like, we want to be working on the new shiny thing, and the new shiny thing is going to fix all our problems and bring in all these new customers. And CS is like, yes, but your existing customers are really, really mad because what you have built does not work. And sometimes that's the case, and sometimes it's just a few really loud, complaining people. But there is always that battle, and it can be very difficult to weigh those two against each other.
yeah, especially in the early days when building
Oh
product and
yeah.
companies,
Yeah.
when you're pivoting. And like, I remember at Lattice, we sort of went from, a goals product like OKRs to performance
Mhm.
reviews. Then we sort of underinvested on goals, and, Lattice eventually ended up building
Yeah.
goals again. But like, we kind of churned all the goals customers and they were all really mad at us. But it was like, hey, we changed as a business and like, we were focusing
Right.
on this now. And so it was better for Lattice, and Lattice ended up being successful, and it was right. But it was
Yeah.
painful to watch the churns come in and to have people upset at you. And, it's just, that's not what you
And
want,
I think
especially I
it's,
like making people happy, obviously. Yeah.
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 In CS too, it's often that's incredibly painful because we're measured on churn, right? And we're measured on retention. And when it's like, well, we made a business decision to not serve these people anymore, but we're still measuring you on how many of them stay. You know, as a CS leader, and I've been in this position, of course, where companies pivot. I've worked in a lot of startups where companies pivot, and I've had to say, hi, totally get the direction we're going in. It makes sense. However, this is how much revenue we have tied up in what the company has been to this date. We have to expect, and I'm going to throw a number out there, 80% of them to leave because we are no longer providing the value that they are paying for. We have options. We can do like a step down program where they're paying less, but you want to give them the time to find another solution. Like you still want to treat them well on the way out. But as a CS leader, you have to say like, all right, I need these taken out of our team's target, or my team's going to be really demotivated. And you have to find a way to not screw over your existing customers. Like I see people doing that. Did you see Canva just had to walk something back?
Oh no, I didn't see
Um,
that.
oh yeah, because I see this happening with several softwares I use, where all of a sudden companies are tripling the price.
Hmm.
um, Active Campaign did this, lead pages did this, and Canva was kind of the first one to do this recently. They basically had like a team. You could have up to 5 people for this like 120, $200 a year or something like that. And all of a sudden they decided like, nope, now each person's going to be 200 on your team. Like we're sunsetting that plan, and now here's 5x what it was. And people were not happy. Obviously, everybody just kind of like took their other people off the plan and was like, I guess we're going to share a login, you know? And they actually walked it back because they lost so much revenue. That doesn't happen so often, but like if you don't give people the time to like find another solution and pivot off. I have a subscription that just went from 250 to $888 a year, and they gave me 30 days notice. And they apparently knew about it earlier in the year, but they waited for all their customers to give them 30 days notice. It's like, oh, but it's 30 days of extra AI features. It's like, no one wanted that. None of your customers asked for that. It's your shiny new toy. But by knowing that you're changing your business model and not letting your customers know, it's like the opposite of marketing, because an angry customer is going to talk about it so much more than a happy customer.